Yes, let's see if the sound is all working. Mine is working. Oscar?
Great, yes.
Yes.
Is mine working? Yay.
Chris?
Yep, I'm here.
Cool.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want, but interact, please.
Interact, yeah. Definitely watch the shows of last week, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was not, of course, on the live stream.
Let's.
Tuesday, but,
After I welcome everyone to this week's live show, with apologies for not doing an actual live show last week, but we'll come to that later. Welcome everyone. Hopefully our biggest fan and main viewer who also starred in our Formula 1 bench watch episode can probably tell us if sound and everything works, but I'm pretty sure it's fine. So welcome to all of you that's watching live. I'm not sure if anyone is watching live, but if you're not watching live, you'll see that later, which is fine too. We've got 311. Oh yeah, we'll come to that later. So we've got some sort of and Edwin says he's there. So you
cool.
Very cool.
Excellent. Hello, viewer.
Hello, viewer. Okay, today's show is news of the week: Formula 1, transatlantic roller coaster, Lego pickup truck, and maybe memory of the week and whatever we can think of in between. So let's start off with news of the week. I think probably news of the week should be our attempts to get a video uploaded to YouTube. Which was not an easy task at all. Yes, we some of you might have seen it or not, but the plan was as follows. We had Chris over obviously last week or almost 2 weeks ago from the States, and we planned to just all be together in one room and do a show from there. Coincidentally, there was also, during the time we were going to meet, the qualification of the Brazil Grand Prix. So we thought it would be cool to do like a live comment on that and just videotape that and release that as a live recording on the Tuesday night at 8. So that we would have content every week at 8 as we promised. So a couple of things went horribly wrong. First of all, we had a couple of cameras, but don't laugh.
Only one second.
We had a couple of cameras there and lights and mics and everything. And just to be sure, I also put a GoPro there so that at least we would have something. So in the end of our very funny and must-watch show, we found out that actually the only thing that recorded anything was the GoPro. So we needed to use that. So we saved it.
So the main camera didn't record anything either?
Sorry?
I thought the main camera had at least 20 minutes.
No, yeah, it had, well, not even that. It had something, but it was, I could have maybe added that in at the start, but then going to the other camera for the rest of the video. If you can go from one to the other back and forth, it's nice. But if you just have this video first and then it goes to another video, then it doesn't make any sense. So I just didn't use it at all. So anyway, it wasn't terribly bad, and it was functional, but it was not as planned. Anyway, not important. It's not about the picture really. It's about the content and what we're saying. So I thought, great, let's just do that. The voice recorder, like the little memo audio recorder thing, did record sound. So I could use that audio track and overlay that with the GoPro. And also I could mute the sound from the television show. Because that was a separate stream too. So in the end, it worked. So I spent, 2 or 3 hours syncing everything up, making it sort of watchable. And then we came to the first hurdle. We knew that was going to be a hurdle. How can we prevent YouTube from blocking our video because we're using F1 content, which we probably, because of all kinds of copyright laws, cannot share. So there were a couple of things that I could do. And the first thing, that is the easiest thing, is to just use only part of the screen. So I sort of letterboxed it, only took the middle part of it, and I rendered the whole thing. But because it was an hour of video, and it was 4K material mixed with other materials, the rendering of the thing out of Premiere Pro took more than an hour, 1.5 hours or so. So I did the whole thing, then I uploaded it to YouTube, and that took more than an hour. And then YouTube immediately said, nope, computer says no. So we were immediately banned. So not you can't view this or you can't monetize on it. It just completely blocked, which was not completely unexpected, but I had already spent hours and hours of getting everything ready, and then you have all of that for nothing. So then I went to, and I could have done it a little bit differently to save some time, but you know, it's still a hobby, and I try to do this just in between my other work, so it's already a lot of work. Anyway, so I thought, okay, no problem, I will just blur the footage. It's not as nice, but if I blur it and people know Formula 1, they can still see what we're talking about, and with our commentary, it should still be something watchable for people to enjoy. So the blurring of the thing was not a big deal. You can do that in Premiere Pro easily, but I had to render it again, which took another 1.5 hours. Then I had to upload it again, which took again 1.5 hours, and then it said the same exact thing. It would not have it. It was just blocked completely, which was a bit strange because I was thinking I have cut the audio out, so it's not going to pick up on any audio. Yeah. It has to be video, but it apparently even recognizes blurred video, and because it's all automatic, it's not a real person looking at that, or at least I think it is. Anyway, so then I thought, okay, now, and then I gave up. So we didn't get the video out on the Tuesday or even on the Wednesday because I was sort of fed up with the whole situation. Because you know how well I do when handling limitations. I'm not very good at that. So anyway, so I thought about it. I said, okay, let's look. And then I saw that YouTube was complaining about a specific part of the video between 45 minutes, 50 minutes or something into the video, which is weird because I thought, why would it pick something out of that video after 45 minutes? So I don't understand that, but I tried to blur that part even more. So the whole video is still blurred. And I took the part between 45 and 50 minutes and I blurred that even more so that it was really not recognizable anymore. Because I thought that would probably still keep the video watchable, but maybe it will sort of trick the bots into not picking up on anything. So I did again, 1.5 hours of rendering, and then it said it was fine. No problems at all. Okay. So then I uploaded it. I think it was Thursday or Friday, whatever. So it's uploaded. It's there. People can watch it. I think it's pretty funny, but that's probably because I'm in it. It's, I think we did a pretty funny show with some highlights in there about Leclerc. You should just probably watch it. Now, of course, I am thinking, should I put the video on with unblurred footage and only blur that 5 minutes of it?
What was the 5 minutes? What was in it?
Yeah, I'm not completely sure. I couldn't really pick anything specific.
There's a bunch of other YouTube channels that use F1 footage regularly.
Yeah.
Like the race and things like that. They all use F1 footage every week, multiple times a week. And the only thing I can see that they do different to what we were doing is they actually have at the bottom of the screen, it says copyright Formula 1 or FIA. No, copyright Formula 1 / Liberty Media. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe that's the trick. I should probably Google it and see. I don't know. Maybe it's something with that. Maybe there's a way to share it, but well, maybe we should look at that because it's nice to just. I don't. I am not. I mean, the goal is not to use their footage just to attract more viewers or something. It's just that we are talking about it, and it makes it so much more, lively to have that footage there. So, well, there's no real bad intent or something. But then again, I know copyright laws are copyright laws, and you just cannot do some stuff. But maybe you're right. Maybe if you notify that it's their material, maybe that's enough. I don't know. Maybe we should look that up and maybe re-upload it if we find a way to do it. But it's weird that it's only that specific part at 45 minutes. And I am tempted to do another upload just for testing it, with only blurring a short part and the rest not, and maybe put that copyright notice in the screen and see if it works. If it works like that, I will just replace the video and leave the new one on with the unblurred footage. But anyway, so that was also a roller coaster, and it was just, you know, the amount of time that it takes to do something like that. And you hear YouTubers are all saying the same thing. YouTube channel is fine, but it eats time because there are so many things you need to do, and not only copyright things, but also just getting it in a format that it's viewable, watchable. And we're doing nothing special, but it has to be, you know, watchable. And there's all kinds of little things that you want to do, and you can spend you can spend 2 times as much time on it. But and then it would look better, obviously. But then again, with seven views and 1 subscriber, that's maybe not worth it. So we'll just see how that goes later. Then it's of course also the chicken and the egg. I mean, is our content so bad that people won't watch it? And should you do content in the way we have? Wait until more people watch it and then make it better? Or should you make really good content and then invest all the time, and will that cause people to watch it? I don't think it is that.
Well, look at the AirTag video. That's about the most production quality we've put into a video, and it has a lot more views. But it's not just 3 of us talking. It's a specific topic.
Exactly. Another thing.
Maybe if we blur our 3 faces out, we'll get more subscribers.
That would work. We just do the voiceover. Now, you know, I'm just curious about how this works. We can use it to test things, you know. One thing that Ed mentioned, and I saw it too, that earlier this week, or Friday or Saturday, I can't remember exactly, I uploaded a video of our trip to Intermodellbau in Germany. And that immediately, I think it has about 300 views now.
Yeah, 313. Yeah.
So I think we should have Eric more on the show.
You uploaded a video with the key with a tag of Intermodellbau on the week that it was on. So
that's why. That's it. So it's probably that, because also you can, when you watch that, you see all other Intermodellbau videos underneath. So YouTube does something with it. So it's probably the title and the tag, and there's just
and the timing.
And the timing. Yeah. Well, anyway, we did manage to put a video out, not in the exact time we would have done it, but it's out there. So we didn't actually miss an episode. We just were a little bit late with it, and just as a pleister op de wonde, we put on that other video too. So that's fine. And we did think about going live last Tuesday, but I was so fed up with everything, I didn't really want to do that. But this week, that means that this week we've got a lot of to talk about, and now we've only done news of the week. I don't know if you guys have specific things this week that you want to share.
Are you going to talk about Formula One?
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Yeah. Let's go into Formula One.
Are we going to talk about Intermodellbau a bit more?
Or? Oh yeah, we could do shortly first a little bit Intermodellbau. Yeah.
Because then.
So do you have the video of my flight back? Oh
damn. Sorry. I was gonna do that, but I completely forgot about that. If you talk about Intermodellbau, Oscar, I will try and see if I can get that video up. Although I need to find it, but
So for all the viewers who are watching us, and we started a year ago with more, I think. RC cars and Lego and train material, then we are doing the latest shows, but of course we are still fond of doing this.
And we need to talk about your new Lego truck as well.
Oh yeah, I've got that in the agenda. So that'll
cool.
come.
Yeah,
that'll come.
But one highlight of the year of a part of the Grindelwald Bastards, where it also includes Eric and my father. Actually, we go together with Paul and myself every year for the last 30 years or something now to the Intermodellbau. It's every year somewhere in April in Dortmund, Germany. But of course, last year due to COVID, it was not there, and this year they postponed it to November, and so it was last week, and we went there actually, but unfortunately, quite some booths were missing who are normally there, so it was a bit less than normal. But on the other hand, it was still fine. There was more space to it, so less people in. So that was actually quite nice.
And this was in Dortmund?
Sorry?
This was in Dortmund?
Yeah, it's in Dortmund. Yeah. In the Westfalenhalle. It's near the Dortmund soccer stadium.
Okay.
And, a big fair, what is it? Die Messe. Fair buildings. And quite nice. They actually are rebuilding some stuff, so there's a new entrance. It's really looking great. There was actually
is it everything to do with models, like plastic model kits, wooden models, radio control?
Yeah,
it's not just trains, or it's not just cars, it's everything to do with model building.
Yeah, exactly. And it's plastic, metal, wood, paper, so there are actually quite some clubs who are only making paper models, so they are also there. You have, of course, the static models, but also RC models. They have a hall where they do indoor flying with helicopters, drones, airplanes. They have a very large water tank where they drive their boats. No, what is it?
No, so Paul, if you get a Happy Hunter, you can go to Intermodellbau and put it in the tank.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't seen the video because it's in there. Not mine, but a Happy Hunter, an original one.
Hey.
Yeah. So we did not see it float, I think, but it was there in the stand. Yeah.
It was there. Yeah.
There was also Titanic.
Yeah.
So it was
that floating, or was that authentic?
It was the real thing. It was completely sinking. Yeah.
So it was still quite nice, but a little smaller than usual. But fortunately, coming April, they will try to open the doors again already. So it's in my agenda. I can Thursday the 7th, I think, of April, we will go there again. Mm-hmm. So Chris, if you make sure you're in the Netherlands, then you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
April the 7th.
Yes.
Yeah, you could join us. That would be cool.
So, and I did an in-depth purchase over there this year. It's a very big thing. It's a metal X-wing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's a metal X-wing, and there are actually just two very small sheets of metal.
Yeah.
Just press them out, and you need to click them into each other, and then it should become an X-wing. I think 10-15 centimeters wide.
A friend of mine has a bunch of these. He really enjoys putting them together, but he has to wear glasses to put them together because the pieces are so small.
Okay. Yeah. It indeed looks like very small pieces, but maybe I will just use a microscope to build it up. So hopefully in the next shows I can show you the outcome of this. Did you buy something, Paul?
Yes, I bought some paint bottles for this little guy. I'm not gonna. The video is on my laptop, and I don't have WhatsApp here, so it's not also in the email. So anyway,
oh, nice.
Hey.
I ended up painting up this guy, and I needed some paints for that. So that turned out pretty cool. It was a little bit more work than it probably should have been, but still, it came out really nice. What's the great thing with this is, I think, is that it's all separate parts, so the painting becomes much easier because you can just have the red and you know the little arms and everything, paint that red and then assemble it later, which makes it much easier to paint. The eyes were one part. They did have grooves in it, so it made it a little bit easier, but the eyes I had to do manually, but also they came out pretty nice. And I gave it a really nice gloss coat, so you know the quality that comes out of that printer. And there are some imperfections, but you don't really see that. So that's all good. So anyway, so I bought the paints and some painting materials there, and I bought a little like drone for Giorgio. That's amazing. I don't have it here. Maybe next week, but it's a really small drone with 4 props, but they're sort of underneath, so they're 2 up and 2 down in the same sort of positions. It's not on the corners. And it was only €10, and I tried it, and it flies perfectly, and it even has automated sequences that you can press. It has an auto land and auto takeoff. And it's stable, and you can do trim, so you can trim it so that it hovers correctly. It's like €10. I mean, how do you even? Yeah, that's amazing. So I bought that, and I'm very happy with that. And that was actually the only things that I bought. But it was nice, and I saw a lot of other things that I wanted to buy but didn't. So maybe.
So maybe for the viewers, so you really should go to what is the website? Scale-Art.com.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you should. I will link the video we made, because there's a couple of minutes of that. But we saw, Scale-Art. That company makes beautiful trucks and it's really great. But now they've got a sort of a special thing for the Unimog. You know, the little Unimog. I'll try.
The Mercedes.
I'll try. Yeah, it's a
Mercedes brand, but it's the small lorry with really for the road constructions and.
Unimogs are used for everything. They're used for military. They're used for construction.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But so Scale-Art really makes a very nice model. Everything is from metal.
Yeah.
And you can really build it up like you want to do this. So I think the starter set was on the fair. It was on the Intermodellbau €1,500 or something.
Yeah. Or even closer to 2,000, I think. It's pretty expensive.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I googled Scale-Art, and the first thing that came up was the Unimog.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it here too.
That is a very nice truck.
And you can, if you see, I think it's up now. It looks great. It has several colors. It has a really good frame. The quality is so high. If you look at, you know, the axis and everything, it's a high price, but it's worth it, I think, because it's really, and it drives really well, very slowly, very very controlled, and it's just absolutely great. You can have pre-painted bodies in whatever color, well, not whatever, but in a lot of different colors. So you can order it with that, or you can obviously spray your own. You've got several versions. You've got a low roof, high roof, military, so you can build it up however you want. But they had a sort of a basic default pack. I think it was just below €2,000. But it's only you need a transmitter, which could cost you another 2,000 if you're not careful. But you see all the little things you can put on there. I'm just browsing to the site now. All little lights. It was lighted. Beautiful LED lights that looked really scale. You can see what it is. And there's a short footage of it running, because they had a whole scent track there on our Intermodellbau video. So anyway,
so I think we did afterward on Eric did his he built up the complete Unimog with a nice transmitter and the gearbox because that's not in, and all the lighting and sounds, etc. Then you're around 10,000 euros.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
You could probably buy a second-hand actual Unimog.
Yeah, that's cheaper. Yeah.
Actually, I've been looking them up online. So for around 10,000 euros, you really can buy a drivable.
The real thing.
Yeah. It's
Scale 1-to-1.
Yeah. It is crazy expensive, and it's not something you're gonna do quickly, but it is beautiful. It is levels higher than any other RC car or truck.
Makes some really nice kits.
Definitely. Yeah. So anyway, that's.
So maybe we can start another crowdfunding.
Yeah. Yet another one, because the last one was
all of our viewers
successful.
together again.
Yeah. Yeah, so Intermodellbau. So we're gonna go again. If everything is okay, we're gonna go again in April, and maybe we'll do some other footage there. Maybe Chris is in the Netherlands, so we can take him. But we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's finally go to Formula One, because we probably need to talk about that. And you're probably going to talk about that more than I, because I didn't see the race live.
You should have watched the race. I know you were upset, but it was actually a really good race.
Well, I'm going to tell you why what the situation was. First of all, it was busy anyway, so I was a little bit stressed already. And then, just a couple of hours before the race started, I got this message that Max got a 5 grid penalty because of yellow flags and everything. Okay, you can say, and we can talk about that for hours probably, which we might even want to do. But in the end, it's probably right. It's probably the correct penalty for him. It
was a weird penalty, because both he and Bottas got it, but the people that were waving the flags at the track, they did double waved yellows, but there was no single yellow ahead of it.
No.
And as soon as Max passed, they stopped waving the yellows because Gasly was far enough off the line.
Exactly. Yeah. And I heard that he didn't get a yellow in his car, and there are flags, and there are like boardings or signs, and they didn't.
The track, and they weren't running.
They weren't running. So, but just before we go into that, what annoys me about Formula One, and it's been worse this year, is the fact that there is so much outside of the track punishments and rules and regulations and things. People get all kinds of things outside the race.
It should be done during the race.
Grid penalties, and it's just, you just don't know what happens. And it's sometimes it seems that it's just totally arbitrary.
Yeah.
This is probably too harsh, because again, you can talk about this for hours, but it feels like, not again, why? And it takes away some of the pleasure for me, because it's, again, limitations that are put on there because of rule books, and they're just too strict, and sometimes they're strict and then they're not strict, and it
this one was open to interpretation, and they interpreted it badly.
And they even I think Formula One even said, or the stewards even said, we understand that the mistakes were made by these drivers, but nonetheless the rules are like this, and we have to enforce the rules. And again, that is, you cannot completely disagree with what they're saying, but they should come up with some other system, because it is it has taken away so much of the pleasure. So anyway, that happened, and that sort of, and I had a lot of other things to do. I thought, I don't even want to watch this, you know. I'll see it later. Apparently, I did miss a great race. So tell us about it.
Missed a great opening lap. So Max and Bottas were both given the same penalty, so they both moved back in the grid. And on the start, Max went very far forwards, and Bottas went very far backwards. So Max was up on the first corner was great because he was on the inside of the first corner all on his own. Everyone else was arguing on the outside of the corner, and Max was just on the inside passing people. On the second corner, he went wide because someone came over because they didn't realize he was there. But then I think pretty quickly he was back up. Within 2 or 3 laps, he was back up to second place. Checo was great. He there was some passes. I mean, he kept trying to pass people in the first corner and kept going deep. Like he would go into the corner way too fast.
Okay.
And he'd miss it on the first attempt, and then on the next lap round, he'd get it. He'd pass them. And the pit stops were good. You know, I mean, it was obvious that Max was never going to catch Lewis, but the pit stop rotations were good. They kept Mercedes kind of on the back foot a little bit. Bottas managed to catch up somewhat through the race. But yeah, it was the midfield stuff. What was going on in sort of the like positions 5 to 11? There was so much passing going on there. I mean, one of the I can't remember. I think it was Checo and Alonso. He passed him once, then Alonso passed him back, then Checo passed him back, then Alonso, then Checo again. It's like, oh my God, it's exhausting watching these two.
Okay.
You know, and Max was pretty relaxed. You know, they were chatting with him through the race, you know, and they said the tires are starting to wake up, and he was like, oh, yep, good evening. It's nice to have you on the car. You know, and then a little bit later in the race, it was like, you know, he said to the pit crew, he goes, we're obviously gonna finish second. We can't catch Hamilton. He said, but let's have some fun. Let's drive the shit off these tires and pressure him, see if he'll make a mistake. So he knew he was going to come second, and he was just having fun because he had so much space behind him. And it was weird because in the first third of the race, he was losing ground to Hamilton. So Hamilton was like half a second a lap faster than him. But he was a second faster than the next car behind him. So it wasn't like he was falling back towards third place.
No.
You know, he was faster than number 3, and number 1 was faster than him. So they were just pulling away so much. The commentary team, the Sky commentary team, they said, you know, there's something going on with Mercedes, and they don't know what it is because they said for it to be 30 to 35 kilometers an hour faster than every other car.
That's just not. No.
They've done something. They've done something to the engine, or they've done something to the aero, because they said, you know, the spread of speeds in the top 3 or 4 teams is normally within about 5 to 7 miles an hour of each other, or 5 to 7 kilometers an hour of each other. And they said the Mercedes is a solid 30 to 35 kilometers an hour faster without DRS. So
Damon Hill said the same thing.
Something odd's going on, but
Damon Hill said the same thing. He said something weird's going on, and I think, you know, this is also a difficult thing, but they're quick, and they're quick in a way that they have to do something different. They have done something, but the thing is, Formula One is all about technical possibilities, and they're looking at the edges of. So they have probably found something that is either not mentioned in the rule book, or is something that there really is mentioned, but they found a way to hide it. It's one of those two things. This is one of the
things I like about Formula One is the engineers are in this constant battle with the FIA. You know, there was a great interview with one of the Red Bull engineers 4 or 5 years ago, and it may be even longer. And they were talking about a rule change in that particular year to do with the mirrors on the car. And in that year, the original specification was the car now has to have mirrors. So this is probably 10 or 11 years ago now. And it was like the car has to have mirrors. So the engineers went, okay, we'll put mirrors on the car. And they looked for the area where there was already turbulent air, coming off the front wheels.
Yeah.
And that's where they put the mirrors.
Yeah.
Because the regulation didn't say the mirrors had to be functional. They didn't say the drivers had to be able to see out of them. They just said the car had to have mirrors.
Yeah.
So I think it was like the RB3 or something. It was pretty early on. But like if the driver was where I am, the mirrors were kind of by his ears.
Yeah, so it could
because that's where the turbulent air was, and they said it's within the rules of the regulation that you said put them on, so we've put them on.
Yeah.
So then they changed the regulation and said no, they have to be functional. And the word they used was functional. So then the Red Bull team actually put mirrors in there, and they went, they're functional.
Yeah.
So then the FIA went, no, okay, the driver has to be able to see them. So they then moved them so that they were just in the driver's eye line, and they went, the driver can see them, and the FIA were like, okay, you have to put mirrors on the car. They have to be functional. The drivers have to be able to use them to see behind them.
Yeah, you have to. You have
and
to
only
see.
when they were very, very precise did all of the mirrors then end up in the same place.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
that's
that sort of stuff I love.
Yeah.
And I really want to know what Mercedes have done, because they've done something. They found something in the regulations that they can work around.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So that is the case, and and that's still fair play, if they have found something and the FIA doesn't either know about it or it's something outside the rules and somebody else hadn't thought about that, that's all fine. It does, however, influence obviously the championship a lot, because right now it looks like Max is not gonna win this, because Mercedes has so much more power in the engine, and if something weird happens, if Hamilton gets a do not finish or goes off, obviously everything is up in the air again. But if nothing, it's
going to come down to the last race.
Yeah, and if nothing weird happens, then Hamilton will win all the rest of the races. But then again, something weird happens all the time, so you never
I don't know.
Why? Because the I mean, even if
so they're good in a straight line, but the next two tracks are a lot more corners than straights.
Okay.
And the Red Bull is much faster in the corners. I mean, when they showed the analysis on the transmission over here, Max was 3 to 5 kilometers an hour faster in every corner than Hamilton. Every one of them.
Yeah.
But he was slower on the straights. Well,
30 kilometers an hour slower. Yeah.
Yeah. So the track in Doha has one very long straight.
Yeah.
And then it has, lots of sweeping corners that are pretty fast. If you look at the next two tracks, they have a lot of hairpins and 90-degree corners and not a huge amount of straight. So it could play into Red Bull's hands, and they could make it up in the straights.
Yeah. Well, let's hope so.
The FIA could find out what's going on and could take, penalties and points off Mercedes. That would change it, but we just don't know yet.
No, I don't know. We'll see. And I am gonna watch obviously the next race, but it's still exciting. What I do like about, and that's just outside, but if you look at Hamilton is like still under pressure, and he doesn't want to jump to conclusions, and be happy with things, because he knows that still everything's possible. So he is doing the right thing. I think he's not overly confident. He is just taking it race by race and under pressure, which is, I think, normal. Toto Wolff has gone completely berserk. I think berserk is an Austrian word, because he is just the pressure he can't. And that's somebody, and I don't know who it was, but somebody said, and that was exactly spot on. Austrians, and also a bit Germans, or maybe the same, they cannot handle if they're not completely in control. They will panic if they don't have the complete upper hand on something, and that's exactly what Toto is doing. He is panicking, and I like that. And people start not liking him because of the way he is. I hear all commentators and everybody saying, this Toto is just not, it's just crazy. Red Bull, on the other hand, they're much more now relaxed. They are playing it. It's probably all a game. Like, we do our best. It has a fun race. Max is acting very relaxed. I hope that he can stay that way. I hope really that he doesn't make a stupid do or die overtake in the next couple of races, but we'll see. If he stays this way and keeps it, and he's just like, second was the only thing we could have done. That if a car runs 30 kilometers...
He's got a very strong second at the moment, because he now has more poles, more finishes in first place, more fastest laps, more fast lap points, and more sprint race points than Hamilton.
Yeah.
He is clearly the better driver this year.
Yeah.
Just on the points alone, just if you look at the pure facts, it's just...
Yeah.
The other thing you missed in the race was Pirelli. They claimed the tires would do 33 laps, and at 32 laps, people's tires started to explode.
Okay.
Like in the space of 5 laps, they had 4 cars, all with the front left tire.
Front left, yeah.
It just went. Like the whole thing just delaminated and punctured, and so that track is an interesting track for tires, but I think they said for 2023 they'll have a new track there, and it might be a street circuit.
Okay.
So they won't be back at Losail. That was just kind of a stopgap measure for this year.
Yeah. They were all very positive about the circuit, by the way. A lot of people say it's a really nice F1 circuit, but okay, we'll see. Edwin has a good solution. He just mentioned in the WhatsApp that they should probably just ram Hamilton off the track, and that would solve everything. But
I'm
not sure if I would be happy with
people off the track, and
I would not be happy with that. But
no one, I don't. It's a solution, but it's not the solution.
No, I agree.
No.
But I thought
it would be nice if Bottas runs him off or something like that.
If
Bottas and Hamilton come together, that'd be perfect.
That'd be perfect. Or anyone with Hamilton. But okay. Well, it's interesting. We're gonna watch it, obviously. This week's not a race. The week after is gonna be another race, and then we'll see. It's all interesting. We'll see how it plays out, and hopefully everything will go normal and keep straight. And if the Red Bull is the faster car on one or both of the next circuits, then it would be great. And if Max wins that one, then it's all fair and square, and that would be the best way to win the championship.
I would like him to win. I would be more than happy with where he is right now.
Yeah.
Because he's improved so much this year compared to last year.
Yeah.
That next year seems like an inevitability.
Yeah. Then again, obviously the cars are all different, so we have to see if the top teams still are the top teams. Well, history shows that normally that is the case. Although Williams, McLaren, they have fallen from being top teams to all the way to the bottom. So it can happen.
McLaren are doing much better now.
They are now, but
they have the right car and the right engines and the right drivers finally, and everything seems to be working. But then, next year it's a complete change of design. So what happens?
You don't know. And Max can be a good driver. He can maybe be the best driver. But if you put Max in a Williams, he's not gonna be in the top 10 probably, or maybe he is. I don't know. But he's not gonna drive as fast. So anyway, that's all next year. Let's first try and become world champion this year. And hopefully that will go in a way that nobody can say, but this is because this is this. I hope that it's going to be on merit, and that would be obviously the best way. And if it doesn't happen and he becomes second, but everything's on merit and no foul play and everything's fair and square, that's fine too. So
Okay. So what they should also introduce is that at the end of the championship, that the car who wins, that every driver gets the time on the same track to drive in this one car.
That would be interesting. Give everyone 5 laps in Lewis Hamilton's car or in Max's car.
Just at the end of the season, and just to see what people are doing with it.
Yeah, well, there are many reasons why that will never happen, but then again, also it seems like
look what happened when Mercedes didn't have Lewis for a race and they put someone else in his car.
Yeah. Well,
God, he's going to win. We can't have him win. We've messed up the tire change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, we've messed up the tire change again.
Yeah.
I think that the cars are the main thing, and that most of all the drivers that are in there could win in a Mercedes.
Yeah.
But what's difficult is to be consistent, to not do stupid mistakes, to handle the pressure, and that's why some drivers just don't make it. And that's the extra bit that a driver needs to put next to the fast car. Yes. But I think if you just give all the drivers a couple of rounds just for the fun of it, they would all probably go much faster than they're doing now in their cars. So yeah.
That's why I said Max he's improved so much this year compared to last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that he gets it. He's in the lead now. If he finishes second in the next race and Lewis finishes first, depending on who gets the fastest lap, they could go into the final race on the exact same points.
Yeah.
And I don't remember ever seeing that in Formula One.
No. So Formula One and the whole sport has become so much better this year because of the fact that there's finally two drivers that are just so close to each other that they can really challenge. And that hasn't happened for years. I mean, it was just one team was in ahead of the others miles.
And it's nothing that the FIA have done, and it's nothing that Liberty Media have done. It's the drivers. They've got two really good drivers.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, one really good driver in Lewis Hamilton, but you know.
Yeah.
We're not biased.
Princess Louise. Yeah. Okay, now we're a band. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about. I mean, we only have 50 minutes left. It doesn't matter because we can shift things to next week. But let's talk about your flight back because I don't have the video.
Oh, yes.
But the video showed a lot of bumping, and apparently this was one of the worst that you ever experienced.
Yeah, so I've been flying since I was 5 or 6, probably earlier than that. So I'm used to turbulence, and it doesn't really bother me. But we about an hour outside of Amsterdam, so we were just sort of flying up over Scotland. They were just starting with the food service, and the pilot came on the PA and he said, all cabin crew, all down. And I'm like,
okay.
I'm like, I've never heard that before. No. And the two that were just behind me with the cart, they both sat down straight away in the aisles and sort of wedged their backs up against the cart and then held onto the underside of the seats. Mm-hmm. And we hit the worst turbulence I have ever had.
Okay.
I had my seatbelt on, but I was getting airtime in my seat. You know, I was being lifted out of my seat.
Yeah.
Because everyone had their food out, there were drinks and soup going everywhere. The overhead lockers popped open.
Yeah.
Nothing fell out, but I could hear you could see a couple of them popped open. The largest airtime we had, so the largest drop felt like it was about half a second.
Yeah. And
then the biggest sort of heave going up the other way was it felt like maybe 3G.
Yeah.
The guy 2 seats in front of me had a glass in his hand, and when we went up like that, he smashed his hand on the thing, and it broke the glass, and he cut his hand across here.
Yeah.
There was, like, I was up front behind us in economy. I heard more than one person scream.
Yeah.
The lady sitting next to me was praying, which didn't really help.
No. No.
And I was stuck in that weird situation because I work in aerospace. I know that there's never been a crash caused by turbulence. Mm. I know the planes are engineered to deal with it. I know that planes go through heavy turbulence all the time.
Yeah.
But there was that tiny little nagging doubt. I'm like, you know, when you look out of the window and you see the end of the wing flapping like this, you're like, I know it can deal with this. They're designed to deal with this.
Yeah, but what if in one case...
But even in a rational person, it puts just that little seed of doubt in your mind. You know, when there's when there's soup flying through the cabin the air crew are sitting on the floor, you're like, oh, this is worse than usual.
Yeah.
And I spoke to them afterwards, and because I was like, is everyone okay? And she said, yeah, we're all fine. She said one of the passengers cut their hand, and there was a head injury further back where something fell on someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they said, so I said, so when the pilot says all down, what? I said, how serious is it? She goes, that's serious enough that they don't even want us standing and going back to our seats.
No.
He said they want us on the ground so we don't get thrown about. Basically, what they're telling us to do is to hold on to something and get low.
Yeah.
And so they, like I said, the two behind me, they had their backs up against the cart to stop it from moving.
Yeah.
The passenger behind me had her hand out on the cart, to stop it from going side to side and to help support it. And it was really bad. And the pilot came on and said this is going to last about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it did. It lasted about 5 minutes, and then it calmed down a little bit, and that's when I was able to take the video, because that was after it calmed down, because it was. And even on that video, maybe you can edit it into the tail end of this before we put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hold the phone with both hands, and I can't keep it steady.
No.
And you can see to the left and to the right, or to the left of me, you can see people's drinks doing this up inside the glass. The guy in front of me is holding onto the seat in front of him. Yeah. And that was after it got calm. Or calmer.
Yeah. Calmer, yeah.
So, but it was nerve-wracking for a few minutes. Like I said, even though I work in aerospace, there was just that little seed of doubt. You're like, wait, is there something I don't know?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. These things are built, they're designed to handle this. You know. So.
No, it's terrifying, and it's nerve-wracking, as you say. I've had some bad turbulence too. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same as you had, because that sounds really, really bad. But I did have stewardesses and thrown about the cockpit and carts running through the aisles, because what happened there was that it had already started a bit. And people were spilling. It was also during dinner or during the meal service.
Of course.
For some reason, of course, obviously. So all the plates were full and everybody had their wines and whatever they had. And it was just like everything went berserk. So I drank everything as fast as I could. And then I just...
same. I was trying to drink all of my drink.
Just thinking, okay.
Well, I'm going like this, trying to get a drink into my mouth.
I knew turbulence. So I knew, that could happen. And I wasn't really afraid at that point. But then they didn't say down, but they said... They asked the flight attendants to take their seats. So they had to go to their designated seated area and had to strap themselves on. But they did so and left one of the carts out there. I don't know if that was on purpose or if that's... so that cart was just going everywhere, and people were trying to hold it in the middle aisle to keep it from going. But the thing is, and exactly as you say, that it's not... it happens all the time. Planes can handle it. I've seen planes on air shows, passenger planes, just taking off, going straight up, making loopings, whatever. These planes can handle a lot.
The worst.
And they can handle the worst. So they will not break apart during turbulence. But there is, because of all the shaking and the stress... And the falling down and then going up again, because probably the other pilot thinks, oh, I have to go up, so it goes down and then it immediately wants to go up again, and also the air is moving up and down, and it's tiring. A couple of minutes of that, and you're completely tired because you're thrown about, and there is that, exactly as you say, that piece of then you think, well, turbulence hasn't brought down a plane yet. What if we are the first?
I was talking to someone afterwards, and they were like, when we got off in Salt Lake, and they said, they said to me, were you worried about the turbulence? And I'm like, well, not really. And they said, oh, they were in the back, and they said, well, my wife was really worried that the wings were going to fall off. I went, well, technically the wings are the thing that's flying. If anything's going to happen, we're going to fall off the wings. The body will just fall out of the sky, and the wings
which
will
is way
going.
better. It's I know.
And I've seen
I'm
not going to tell her that because she won't find that funny.
No. Yeah, leave that. I've seen the tests where they just try to break the wings. They just bend them up, and they're almost like 90 degrees. And on the end, it's just they're so strong. But again, it's very nerve-wracking, and it's not a nice thing to do, especially when things go flying around and the overhead bins go open. It's just like, this isn't supposed to happen, is it? I had a rough landing once where the overhead bins all came down. That was just one of these cases where it was a 747 at Schiphol when we came back from Antilles, I think from Curacao or something. And we were all glad, that we were finally there, and we were just waking up a little bit. And what happened is that it didn't, that case where they go down and they try to flare it off, but then it stays up.
In the air. Yeah.
and you feel the runway is sort of ending. And you can. In my mind, I could see this pilot going, "Shit! Well, there's only one way.
Straight.
Just crash it into the ground because we're not gonna make it." And that was the roughest landing that I ever had. I almost broke my back. That was the feeling that I had because I was just smashed to the tarmac, and all the overheads went open, and it was just like mayhem. So that was not a nice thing. And one thing that I still remember on the plane, and I'll come to the other thing now, but on the plane was a really small, like Fokker turboprop that flew from Zestienhoven or Rotterdam The Hague airport to London City, and that's an ideal thing, it's a great flight, but it was one of the, I don't know the name of the airliner, but it was a small plane, and we had a lot of turbulence. But what happens with the smaller planes, and it might be because of it was small, but it also could be the turboprop thing, is that it did not only go up and down, but it also had a lot of yaw. So you were like, the tail was going side to side, So and that's just a completely different experience that I never experienced in a wide body airliner. And I was just like, whoa, and you were just getting nauseous about that, Just the whole thing was feeling very, very, very unstable. And then combined with the up and down and all, and also the banking, terrible experience. But, and now we come to top everything off. Did you ever go, when it was still possible, on a hovercraft from Calais to Dover?
Yes, on the hover speed.
On the hover speed, you could drive your car into the hovercraft, a really big one, and you leave your car there. They strap your car down the wheels with like
that. That's the first clue that they're strapping the cars
exactly.
down.
So I was already a little bit worried then, and then we had to go up into some sort of an airplane cabin, really, like you were sitting on, and there was service there and stewardesses or whatever you call them on a hovercraft, and it was all fine, but. What happened, the channel can obviously be quite rough, and the winds were blowing, and it was actually very bad weather. And what happened is the wind came from the side. So what happened with this hovercraft, it normally is above the waves and it goes on a cushion. But if the waves are high, the waves sometimes hit, so they go through the cushion, and they hit the actual hovercraft. So that was the first thing. So you were just like a boom, boom, and you were just hitting all these tops of the waves. So then we were getting really worried, and I was thinking about my car. Obviously, I was thinking all the cars are now in a pile below decks. I was like, oh my god, and we were just a little bit worried, and people were also looking worried around us. And then even worse, because of the side winds, it would go up. And then the wind would go under it, and it would tilt, and it would just go sideways for 100 meters or whatever, and then it would go into the waves again, and it was absolutely horrifying. Way more than I ever did on a plane. Apparently, that was the last crossing for that period of time, because they said the weather was just too bad for hovercraft service, and it was probably already too bad. When we were in it, but what are you gonna do? You have to get to the other side anyway. So they just thought we'd just wing it and we'll see what happens. We'll just keep going. You can't do anything else. So that was because it was cancelled after that. Then on the way back, we were lucky to be on a boat on like a real ferry. Because of that, they had transferred us to that, and we were all very happy with that because we didn't have to go on that bloody hovercraft again. but have you ever been on a ferry across the channel with really, really bad weather? Well, that's not a good thing too. We just like, we were all relaxed, and
because the ferries make some really weird noises once they start to plow.
Exactly.
Because you hear them plow in the water, and then you hear the
yeah, exactly. Everything is rattling.
Like everything rattles and shakes.
It's crazy, and we were smart as we were on the top front in a bar, so we were high, and we were all the way at the front, and we were still in
maximum airtime.
Yeah, and we were in the harbor still, so there was no problem. And we went out, and I can still remember that we went out, nothing was matter, and then it went up, and it went up for like a minute or so. And then it went down, and it just banged into that first wave. And exactly as you say, oh, my camera is not focusing. Exactly as you say, everything was there showing. So we thought, okay, why is it not focusing? Yes,
it's showing us how you felt on the ferry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the only thing is it's not green, but for the rest it's. Oh, now it is. Anyway, and then we thought, okay, and I thought, let's be smart, let's go to the middle, like low part of the ship, because there's the least. But you can't walk on a ship like that because you're sort of floating so you're trying to stay on the ground, and it was always comedy capers. It was sort of funny, but we were totally exhausted. So anyway, there's
some great videos on YouTube where people are taking videos on ships like that, but they kept the camera level with the boat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
so you can't see that the camera's doing this with the boat, but what you can see is people walking sideways, just walking like this, and it's like a completely different perspective.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was about traveling. One thing before we stop is that I have to show you this.
Hey, I recognize that.
Really nice pickup truck. People that have watched the video of the Formula One have seen the unboxing of this thing. It has been a really fun kit to build. It looks really nice. It has a really detailed engine in there, which looks pretty good. The building techniques are just great. Doors are opening, and there are sort of rubber bands there, so they really did a good job there. Interior is really cool. The steering wheel is actually working, which is also very good. Just the looks of it are great. It's like a generic, like old pickup truck, like a Chevy maybe, but it looks just really great. Also, you can take away these wooden racks, and it has a back thing that goes open. Anyway, really nice kit. And fun to build, and it also looks really cool. So
well, you're like I said, it was. I felt like you needed something for your birthday and for hosting me while I was over there. So.
Well, thanks again. It's absolutely beautiful, and I enjoyed it thoroughly to build that. So that's gonna get a nice place somewhere. Oh yeah, by the way, there were lots of things like this, like kruiwagens with flowers and everything, which is cool too. And like a gieter.
A gieter.
So yeah, a gieter. I haven't put on the decals, by the way. So when I have put on the decals, whatever you call it, I will show it again. But I wanted to show it. So anyway, I think that's probably it for this week. Another hour of needless fun. We'll see. I want to thank everybody for watching again. We'll be back next week, I think.
Yes, we will.
And I will try and put all the links to videos and everything, and also the video of Turbulence. I will try and put that in somehow. And then we'll see each other next week. So I'm gonna say bye. Subscribe, comment, thumbs up, down, like. Yep. You know the drill.
And definitely watch the from last time.
Yes, you should probably